Hello, everybody. I have never played a Monster Hunter game before. The only game within the Monster Hunter genre that I've ever played was a free-to-play game called Dauntless. Rest in piss. Now, I was willing to try. I'm willing to try things. I'm willing to try new things. I always am willing to try a new experience. So when Monster Hunter Rise came out, which I had no clue about, never seen any marketing for, never heard any whisper about this game, but it came out, and my friend, twitch.tv/Brungus97, when he recommended that I play it, I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. He's saying it's the most newbie-friendly Monster Hunter. I might as well give it a go. And I gotta say, it's good, but I don't think I'm a Monster Hunter fan after playing it. Like, the game is well made. It's fun. It's definitely fun. Like, without a doubt, it is fun. But I don't... There are parts of it that make me not like it and not want to try other Monster Hunters. So, starting from the top. Monster Hunter, I don't know how I feel about this. And I'm going to say a lot of things in this video that are, I am not a fan of this aspect of the game. And people, some old heads, some fans, might say that, well, that's just a part of Monster Hunter. That's just a part of the way it is. And that's fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't like it. I'm just saying this aspect of the game, of the franchise, I guess, is something that I personally don't like. And I will even posit that just because something is the way you've always done it and how it is in every game, doesn't mean it shouldn't change. The "it's how we've always done it" argument is bullshit and absolutely unconstructive. Because if you are unwilling to change something that is flawed just because it's how we've always done it, that is bad. That is a bad thing. That's how we get shit like Call of Duty coming out every single fucking year and changing very little and charging even more. I'm going to talk about my experiences with the game. So, newbie Monster Hunter player, never played one before. I picked Twin Blades to start with because I like the idea of the fast striking, death by 1,000 cuts style of gameplay that it had on offer. And now, Monster Hunter Rise teaches the player a lot of things directly, except how to use each individual weapon. Because, like, this is a great thing that Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds. This is a great thing that Wilds does. This is a great thing about Wilds in the Monster Hunter series. Is it has this long list of different kinds of weapons you can pick. And every single one of them is pretty different from each other. Like, Greatsword is completely different from how you play Longsword, is completely different from how you play Switch Axe, from Charge Blade, Twin Blades, Hunting Horn, Insect Glaive. They're all different and unique, and they all have different mechanics and styles of gameplay that they lean into. And so that is a huge positive that I have for this game, and I guess the Monster Hunter series as a whole, is each weapon feels unique. Each weapon feels different. Like, you can get into an issue with games like this where there might be large weapon variety, but some of them feel samey. And that is the case for Wilds. Fuck, there's too many Monster Hunter games. That is the case for Wilds. With, like, the heavy bowgun and the bowgun. They feel like, just from the outside looking in, because I haven't tried the actual weapons, they look very similar, and like they have very similar gameplay styles. Same thing with the lance and gun lance. They look similar, but like, because the gun lance, I've tried the gun lance and the lance a little bit, and they definitely do feel different. They're just visually similar. So I imagine that's a similar case for the heavy bowgun and the bowgun. Just from the outside looking in, because I haven't tried them, they look very similar. But all the other weapons, all of the weapons look and feel unique and different, and like they have completely different play styles, and they feed into different experiences with hunting the monsters. So that is very good. However, Monster Hunter Wilds does a terrible, terrible job of teaching new players how to use the weapons and the mechanics that each individual weapon type has to themselves. I went through half of low rank without even knowing Demon Dance exists for Twin Blades. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know how to do it. So my fights in like the first half of low rank were taking so unbelievably long because I very rarely went into demon mode, and I almost never did Demon Dance. So these fights were taking ages. And then eventually I decided to switch weapons and picked the Charge Blade because my friend who recommended it, Brungus, he mains Charge Blade. Well, he mains Greatsword and Charge Blade. And so I was like, okay, Charge Blade looks cool. It's got you got a sword mode and an axe mode, and it's got a cool like chainsaw style if you have the charged axe mode, which I really fucking like. Grip it and rip it and saw a fucking monster in half. So I switched to Charge Blade about halfway through low rank. I think it was like the Ajarkon or the new Udra fight. I switched over to Charge Blade, and I immediately found that I liked it much better because the fights went quicker because I had someone to help explain how to use Charge Blade, how the files work, how charging the different parts of the weapon works, how to do each thing, how to charge things. And so because I had that, I was able to use every tool in the toolbox that Charge Blade has on offer. I didn't have that for Twin Blades, so the fights were taking ages. And so this is my issue with the teaching that Wilds gives the player. So tutorials are a band-aid fix to an issue of how do you teach the player how to play your game. I think the best way to teach the player is organically through gameplay. Like Hollow Knight does this, Outer Wilds does this, where you will have button prompts, like things will come up saying, oh, you can press the button to do this, but you, the player, get a chance to actually interact with the world, try these things out, experiment, test, figure out what things work together in what way, what things synergize, what things don't, if you do this or if you do that. Those are all very good. I think the worst way to teach the player how to play your game is to just throw up a fucking tutorial screen, say, press this button to do this, press this button to do that, and then throw them off into the world. So Monster Hunter Wilds needs to find a compromise between just teaching the player, so I don't know how Monster Hunter would do it, but they need, especially in games like this that are so very clearly to get new players into the franchise, they need some kind of an in-between to teach players how weapons work, what weapons have what, like the different intricacies of some weapons. Because if you don't, you get people like me who don't know if Demon Dance fucking exists. They have a training area for you to try out the different weapons, but it's not great because you just have all the button prompts up on the top right corner of your screen, and then that fucking changes when you do certain actions to show what the new list of things you can do, comboing off of the action you just did. but it changes so fucking fast, and then it goes away because the window for doing combos is kind of short. You can't use that to fucking learn unless you spend like 15 minutes in the training area alone. And who wants to do that when they fire up a new game about hunting monsters? You don't want to pal around with the weapons, figure out what fucking works, what jives with you, what doesn't, when you're here to hunt and kill big ass monsters. So Capcom needs to find an in-between where they organically teach the player how each individual weapon works without just inundating them with information before they can fight the first monster. And like, I don't know how they would do this. I'm not a game designer. I have no fucking clue how they would do it, but it just feels bad and it just feels off. And so going into low rank, I was enjoying it. I didn't know Demon Dance exists. I didn't know that I didn't know, so I wasn't upset yet. But that is a problem I feel exists in the game. Is like the game doesn't teach the player enough for them to be able to effectively use each weapon. Because like I said, Twin Blades, I didn't know Demon Dance existed because it told me in a kind of weird way with the tutorial where it had the button prompts up in the corner of the screen, but it's like it never told me like, hey, you should do Demon Dance. Most of your damage comes from being in demon mode and doing Demon Dance when the monster is stunned or whatever. And then I was able to, the only reason I knew how to use Charge Blade was because I had someone else in my ear who already knew how to use Charge Blade teaching me how to use Charge Blade. You shouldn't have to learn how to play a game from another player. Okay, I'll backtrack that a little bit. It is fine to learn more intricate mechanics and synergies from other experienced players, but basics of how weapons work should not have to be taught to a player by their friends. But anyway, past that tutorial, fight the first monster, that is cool. Okay. My experiences with low rank was mostly negative. And then I started to enjoy the game a bit. So when I was originally writing the notes for this video, I was a lot more critical of it. I was a lot more negative about it because I had originally started writing the notes when I was still in low rank. And it wasn't until I got to high rank where I started to have a bit more fun with it. I started to become more positive on the game. So I'm going to start with some negative points I have on the game. Number one, because my first experience with the game was negative, which is a bad fucking thing. Also, because you are statistically more likely to stick around if you hear something that upsets you than if you hear something you agree with. So don't blame me, blame fucking YouTube. The fuckers. First thing I want to talk about is the UI and the menus are absolute shite. What the fuck, Capcom? What the fuck is this shit? And again, don't hit me with this is how they've always done things, because that doesn't excuse the fact that it's just outright bad. The UI is absolute fucking dog shit. It's menus within menus within menus. And I never use half the shit because I don't know what it fucking does. And the game never tells me what it does. I'm never shown what it's done. I've never led to figure out what it's done because it's completely ancillary from the player experience. UI and menus should not be separate from player experience. They should be intertwined with it. The UI for when you're playing the game is fine. It's fine. Your health is shown clearly. Your stamina is shown clearly. Your weapon sharpness is shown clearly. And effectively, I'll say the best part of the UI design is the bar in the top fucking left of the screen that has your weapon sharpness and whatever gauge or whatever your specific weapon type has. That is the best part of Monster Hunter Wilds UI design. Health bar, stamina bar is fine. The buffs on top of the health bar are a bit iffy because number one, they're so fucking small, I can barely notice them. And number two, I have no clue what most of them do unless I specifically activate a buff that I know I have and I purposefully activated it, and then the symbol pops up and I know that symbol is related to the buff that I just got. But armor sets that just give you buffs when X thing happens and then a little symbol pops up, I have no fucking clue what that buff does. And most of the time I won't notice when it goes away. So then Capcom smartly put a little text box in the fucking right side of the screen saying this buff has stopped. So it's like, whatever, it's fine. It's not fine, but it's fine. Now the worst part about the UI is this little fucker down here. Your item pouch. Because you can only select, I hate the item pouch. Because it has a fucking radial menu that you have to slide through to find the specific thing you're fucking looking for. And it's fine, but I don't like it. But my biggest gripe is with the menus. When you finish a hunt, you get a menu pop up of all the rewards you got. You go, cool, give me those rewards. And then another menu pops up with your jewels and your Arshan parts, and those get appraised to show you what specifically they are. It's like, cool, click, menu goes away. And then another fucking menu pops up with all of the experience and Palico level and other fucking bullshit. It's like, why couldn't this all have been one single menu, Capcom? Why? It doesn't have to be 3 menus. Why is it 3 menus? Just make it one. Just click one button and it's gone. For fuck's sake. Now, as I am kind of in low rank, talking about because low rank is most of negativity, I will mention my initial experience with it and why I was so negative on it was I wasn't a fan of how little iframes the dodge roll had. Because most of my experience with games are games where the dodge roll has iframes for the majority, pretty much the whole thing. You know, Enter the Gungeon, Souls-likes, Dead Cells, that kind of thing. They all have a dodge roll that gives you iframes for the whole for as long as you expect there to be iframes. So coming into a game where the dodge roll has a very limited number of iframes, I was not liking that. And then I was very much not into that. But then my friend told me that the game is less about dodging attacks and more about positioning to not be where the attack is going to be. And that's all fair and good. But the player just moves a bit too slowly for my liking. And the player does everything a bit too slowly for my liking. And yes, again, there's the whole thing of like, it's how they've always done it. I don't fucking care. It just feels bad when I can do my fucking taxes in the amount of time it takes for my character to put his fucking charge blade away so I can run away from the attack that is gonna one-shot me. Because Tempered Mizusune is an absolute bastard. Yeah, as I got more experience with the game, this became less and less of an issue as I figured out monster patterns, what windups led to what attacks. But I still feel that whole thing of it's about positioning, not dodging, is kind of swept away when the monster moves so fast and the monster does certain attacks so fast that it feels like I don't get a choice on where I'm positioned relative to the monster. And so I'll be doing my best to avoid being in a place where I could get hurt. And then the monster just fucking whips around, turns 130 degrees, and then fucking smacks me anyway. It's a little frustrating. It's not as bad. I don't hate it as much as I did in low rank. Now that I'm in high rank and more experienced with the game, I got to hunter rank 100. It's still not great. It still feels clunky and just off kilter. And the camera is just terrible. The camera is just fucking dog awful. And like there's not really a lock on function. So it's like sometimes when the monster just whips past me and goes to the opposite side of the combat arena that we're currently in, I can't really follow it because there kind of is a lock-on system, but also kind of isn't. And then you don't really want to use the lock-on system because then that might fuck with focus mode. But even with getting used to the gameplay and like how I should position, it's still there's still the issue that some of the hitboxes are a bit janky, and sometimes it feels like I got hit by an attack when I shouldn't have, and sometimes it feels like I didn't get hit by an attack when I shouldn't have, in almost an equal amount. Like the hitbox jank goes for and against the favor of the player, which evens it out, I guess. But I'd still rather have good, solid hitboxes altogether than janky ones where I'm sitting there scratching my head wondering why the fuck I didn't get hit by that. And why the fuck I did get hit by that. Anyway, the camera is terrible. Like, the camera is just dog awful. When it's against monsters like Chotacabra, Quematrice, Ajaricon, the camera is fine. It works. It's actually pretty good. I'd say it's good. But when you're fighting something like Arkveld, Gormagala, Jindahad, even Hirabami, the camera is terrible. Not being able to see the full monster at any given moment quite often means that it'll do an attack that I don't see as coming, and so I don't have the opportunity to try and avoid the attack. It makes the whole positioning thing hold less weight in my mind. Is like, okay, if you're so about positioning, why is the gameplay so untailored to that? Yo, what's up? It's a fucking continuity error. It's the day after I recorded the main body of this video, and I realized I should probably mention that a lot of the stuff I'm saying in the negative section, especially in regards to gameplay, is my own personal takes and interests on like what I want to get out of the games. Like I think that Monster Hunter gameplay is a little too slow and janky for my liking. Like I like stuff that's a very tight system with stuff that feels good to interact with. You get an immediate feedback, stuff like Hollow Knight and Elden Ring and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of thing. I'm not trying to say that it's bad and it doesn't have a place in anything, in any gaming in any form. I'm just saying I personally don't like it. I don't like how long it takes to take a potion. I don't like how long it takes to use any item in general. I don't like how long it takes to put away some weapons. I wish I could sprint with certain weapons out, like dual blades, or because like it makes no sense that I have to put away dual blades to start sprinting, and then that just slows it down. Anyway, that's just my personal taste. Is I don't like the slowness, how slow it is. But I'm done bitching about the gameplay because I'm gonna get later on. I'm gonna get into what stuff I love about the gameplay. I'm done bitching about the gameplay, but I am not anywhere near done bitching about the story. Because the story of Monster Hunter Wilds is ass. It is so bad. It's it is bad. So for a game like Monster Hunter Wilds, much like a game like Space Marine 2, like a game like Call of Duty, you're not here for the story. You're not here for the narrative that's being woven by Monster Hunter Wilds. You're here for the gameplay. You're here to hunt monsters. You're here to go fucking beat the shit out of Chotacabra. But so it's like ordinarily with a game like this where the focus is so much more clearly more on the gameplay than the story, I wouldn't be so negative about a bad story because I can always overlook a bad story if the game is fun to play. However, that kind of goes away when the game so clearly wanted to tell a story. Now, I don't know this, obviously, because I've never played other Monster Hunters before, but from what I've heard, the story of previous Monster Hunter games has been mostly ancillary to the gameplay. And then this one, for whatever reason, has more of a focus on the story of Monster Hunter Wilds. And so when you're focusing more on the story and it's still bad, then we have a problem. Because this story is fucking dog shit. The story itself and the themes of the story are okay and serviceable, but the characters and the character interactions are terrible. Nata is one of the most annoying child characters I have ever fucking seen. He was fine in the first couple hours of the game where he never said anything, but Ray Dow and past, when you actually finally see Arkveld for the first time, he just never shuts the fuck up. And I just want him to because he always says the most annoying shit. And then all of the other characters aren't really characters. They're just things to be there to pump up the hunter and like make him look like this cool, badass motherfucker. They're not characters. They're just like, I don't know. They're just statues there to look good and say things and move the story forward. They're literally just there to move the story forward, to progress the player through the game. But then they tried to make it an actual like narrative story that you should care about, but I don't care about. I just want the cutscene to end so I could go hunt more fucking monsters. And this would be fine if you could hunt any monster you want during low rank, but you can't because you have to progress the story until you hunt that monster in the story before you can just go off and hunt that monster whenever you want. And then even though high rank was the highlight of my gameplay, it's when I started enjoying the game more, the first mission of high rank sucks ass because this mission requires the hunter to capture a monster instead of slaying it. It is the first and only story mission in Monster Hunter Wilds that requires the player to capture the monster instead of slaying it. This is bad because at no point previously in the game does it ever teach you how to capture monsters. After you hunt the Chotacabra for the first time at the very start of the game and you go off on your next hunt, the game tells you that you can choose to slay or capture monsters. It doesn't tell you how to capture monsters. It tells you it's an option, but you never learn how to do it. So I had to go off in the middle of the hunt when I realized I don't know how to capture monsters. I had to go off, Google it, and figure out how to capture monsters. Again, Capcom, this is bad game design. This is not how you teach your player. If the best way to have done it, since this is the first mission that requires you to capture a monster, there should have been a tutorial in this mission or something to tell me that I need to use a trap and then tranquilizers when the monster is almost dead. Tell me the indications of the monster being almost dead, the little skull icon next to its symbol on the minimap, the flatline heartbeat on its symbol at the bottom of the screen. It's almost dead. Use a trap and two tranquilizers and you'll capture it. Why couldn't you have told me this in the one mission that requires you to capture? And do not try to warrant it with veteran players already know, because that is a terrible argument when this game is so clearly geared to getting new players into the franchise. In a game about bringing new players in, you need to teach new players the central mechanics. Now, with all of this negativity, it probably sounds like I hate the game, aside from all the times when I say I actually like it because I got into high rank. Moving on into high rank, I actually do genuinely like the game. Again, all of that negativity up front was because YouTube's stupid fucking algorithm says you'll stick around longer if you hear something inflammatory that you disagree with. Don't blame me, blame YouTube. So, let's get into some positives. Now, this section is going to be more than likely shorter than the negatives, because it's harder to talk about things you like than things you dislike. It's harder to talk constructively while gushing about things you enjoy than talk constructively or even unconstructively about things you dislike. That is just fundamentally something harder to do. It's why there is so much negativity on specific subreddits for certain games, is because people will go to the subreddit to complain about something more often than they'll go to the subreddit to praise something. It is just a natural fucking stupid thing about human nature. Anywho, right off rip, the game is visually gorgeous. All of the environmental locales look stunning, especially the Windward Plains. And the monster designs are all amazing and incredible. They all look very good. They're all visually distinct. And they are just so well designed and crafted. And they all look really good. On top of that, along with each weapon playing differently, they're all visually distinct. And all of the different weapons you can craft from each type, from the monsters, all look so good. Like, the visuals of this game are incredible. And then, again, once I got into high rank and I started getting used to it, the gameplay started clicking for me and it started to feel so good. And the game feels really good. It's there's 4 different kinds of hits. There's a hit that bounces, a hit that does a hit that does almost no damage, and if it's a lighter attack, it'll bounce. A hit that does reduced damage, a hit that does normal damage, and a hit that does increased damage. And each of these all have their own visual and audible clues that differentiate each one very well. And then each weapon just feels so satisfying. And when a monster eventually is paralyzed or topples over or gets stunned, it just feels so satisfying to whip out your highest DPS combo and just go to fucking town on his skull. Oh, it's so good. It's once the gameplay clicks, you're in. You're fucking hooked. It's dopamine straight to the fucking brain. All of the weapons are so well designed, from their visuals to their actual toolkits, that I want to try out each one. I ran through basically the entirety of the game, low rank and high rank, with just twin blades, dual blades, and the charge blade. Those were my two weapons that I went through the entirety of the game with. And while I very much like them, I want to try out other weapons. Like, I want to try lance. I want to try hunting horn. I want to try gun lance. I don't give a fuck about bow gun or bow. I don't really like ranged gameplay, except for gun lance, I guess. But like, that one's more close up ranged gameplay, I guess. I want to try all of these weapons. I want to make all of the different weapons for each type from each monster. It's so good. And then, like, while the story is terrible, there's no denying that this cutscene is amazing.
Predatory behavior. It's destructive. We can't let this go on.
There's no other way.
What do you mean? I'm sorry. Arkfeld has become a threat to the continued existence of this ecosystem. It must be put down. No! Please. Please!
Nata.
If anyone should be angry, it's me. And I hate that it happened. But this is the first thing it ever got to decide for itself. To be free. To live strong. Please, don't do this. I'm begging you. It can't control itself.
The path we must take is clear.
For the continued preservation of this ecosystem, the Guild authorizes you to slay the Guardian Arkfeld.
Acknowledged.
No, please! There has to be another way! It finally got its chance to live!
So to cap things off, while I do have a lot of criticisms about the game, how while it is clearly designed to get new players into the game, it does a lot of things that make the new player, the newbie experience, worse than it should be. I think it is an incredible game. However, I probably won't be playing any of the past Monster Hunter games. Number one, because I just don't have time. I have a full-time job. I have other games to play. I have so many other games to play. I just don't have time for it. Also, there's a lot of, and the Monster Hunter community seems to have a bit of a problem with this, is there are a lot of old heads in the community that are just turning me off from playing other games, like World and Rise and anything before that I don't know the name of. they're because like they're shitting on Wilds for whatever reason, and then bringing up things that are like, oh, this game is so much better because it was so much harder, and then the way they explain how previous games were harder just makes me not want to play them because I like a challenge. I want to have a challenge. I love Elden Ring. I'm enjoying Dark Souls 3 so far. I love fucking Hollow Knight and Nine Souls. I like having a challenge. But the way that people describe previous games being harder just disincentivizes me from playing because it doesn't sound harder in a fun way. It sounds harder in a tedious way. Like it's harder to find, it's not as easy to find a period to heal. You don't have focus mode, so connecting combos is harder because you can't turn mid combo. Like focus mode, I think, without playing the previous games, is probably the best thing Capcom has added to the Monster Hunter franchise. Being able to turn in the middle of a combo, so if a monster moves 2 inches to the left, you're not going to whiff your next fucking attack. I think that's a good change. And old heads talking about how this not existing in previous games makes them harder and therefore better, I just fundamentally disagree with. Because that's not increased difficulty in a fun way, that's increased difficulty in a janky way, which is not fun. While that statement might have made some people upset, I don't care. Just blankly, I don't fucking care. Nothing you can say will get me to play the previous games, more than likely, because these people have just maybe go, probably not for me. So, Monster Hunter community, get on that. Whip these guys into fucking shape. Tell them they're being assholes. A game being easier because they removed jank does not mean the game is worse. It doesn't. It just fucking doesn't. It means the game is better. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say Wilds is better than the other games because I haven't played them. I don't know if it is better. But in all honesty, if the next game does, I'm not going to play the previous games because I don't like not being able to turn around. Like your combos are already so committal because weapon swings are so fucking long and you can't animation cancel out of them as far as I know. That the ability to just whiff on a combo because a monster moved a couple inches in a direction is just, that just doesn't sound fun. It's like, that just doesn't sound fun. I will, however, most likely pick up the next game, especially if Capcom adds a new weapon type that's like gauntlets or fisticuffs or something, because I want to punch the shit out of a fucking lizard. Do it, Capcom. Give me punching weapons. I want to punch Rathlos in its stupid fucking face. Yo, it's another continuity error. I completely forgot to do all the YouTube pleasantries at the end of the video. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike. If you want to add something to conversation, leave a comment down below. I may have pissed some people off with the stuff I said in this video, so please be civil. If you want to check out some more stuff I made, go check out the other videos on my channel. A lot of them aren't great. I'm getting better, but a lot of them aren't great. I'm kind of proud of the Helldivers video but that stuff is entirely outdated now. If you want to watch me live, I live stream every other weekend, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Twitch.tv/Caustic Canadian. And I have a VODs channel with all my past streams on it. Also highlights whenever I get around to throwing one together. That's Caustic Live. Link will be in the description. Link for everything will be in the description as usual. Thank you for watching.